building a turnkey operations. We talked about why is the business not growing, how come it's plateaued, and we're going to go back. It's going to all come together. Today we're going to talk about management, the strategy of hiring management. This is the most difficult part for business owners, especially for those that have worked alone for a long time and haven't had the experience to hire. But we're going to put it all together. As you know, we first started with the mission statement and the vision, right? We did our logos and our slogan. We continued on and started to create the why. Why did I start this business? What motivated me to build something to give back to community? Some of you are a nonprofit and others are for profit, but we're both giving back to community, whether it's our services, our products, or just helping the community overall. So to me was the most challenging part to hire, because I didn't know to hire. I was never trained to hire. I didn't do a profile. I didn't know how to pick, the qualities in a person. It was challenging overall. So, but here's how it comes all together. You have your primary aim of why you're doing it, right? The personal goals, the business goals, and what you're offering to your community. Then we talked about strategic business plans, right? What demographic, who are we going to target? Who's the right client for us? Who can we do our best and give our best to? What's that best relationship where it just both clicks, right? And then last week we talked about organizational chart, the strategy of picking out each department and building a manual. After you've created that manual of those positions, we had some companies have vice presidents, and under vice presidents they have managers. Others don't have vice president and they go straight to managers. We divided the roles between strategy, right? People that build strategies, and those that are tactical work. Who's going to do the tactical work? Well, if you're a manager, it's going to run like a VP, meaning that he or she is going to be the one running that department and maybe even planning for the team what to do. It is very important that when you hire someone with the ability to plan forward, to be a forward thinker, right? Think about it. This person is your right hand, and maybe your left. And I often say that my assistant Erica is my right, my left, my back of my eye. She's everything, right? Because we rely on each other to work together. It's very important that you understand that that person has to have those abilities. But when you're hiring that person, one of the advices that many books say is share your story as to why you opened your agency, your business, your restaurant, your doctor's office. There's always a why. Something motivated you into opening a business, to start this journey as an entrepreneur, which is not that easy, as we all know. And let the person that's going to come into the company know what is the mission of the company, what's the vision. People love to work for things that are bigger than them, that mean something. That's important. I made the mistake of not doing that. Make sure that you do that when you are interviewing. Make sure they know a little bit about you. A good potential employee should research you, should know what's the story or what do you do, what are the services, where do you differentiate yourself from other businesses. That's a good thing. Key things for those that are looking for employment. But for the one that is interviewing the business owner or the manager, looking for their abilities are wonderful. Their core values is essential, right? And their desire to participate in the company. Make sure they're buying into us why you did this business. That's why the primary aim is where you start. What's the goal for your family, but what's the goal for the business? Your strategic objections. What are the ones who's your ideal client and why? And how can you service them the best? Dividing the departments so that each person knows what their jobs are. So that when you're hiring, you can say, okay, here's a manual, operation manual, that says what is expected of you. Here's your first interview. Look at this. Come back for a second interview and see if you are willing to do these roles, right? And once they commit, have them sign a contract of what is expected, what are the hours, what's the pay. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that you have to have them pay, sign. But I think that from now on, as my business grows, one of the things that I will start to do is to make sure that the person knows the why. I'm very passionate about what I do. I love what I do. I really feel that when I take care of a customer, I'm looking out for their finances, making sure that their families will be stable when something happens. This is important that my staff also understands that they bought into that. That's when they're servicing a client, they realize the importance of taking care of them to make sure that if anything happens to them, that person can be restored back to normality. That's my job. That is what I offer. So what do you offer? We talked about that. Make sure that when you're selling your services, what is the feeling that you're giving that customer? You know, we talked about Chanel, who sells fantasy, right? We talked about Revlon, who sells hope. Well, what do you sell? Make sure you know yourself and that your staff sees it in you, because you cannot, it's like parenting. I always tell my friends, it's not what you say, it's what you do. Our children learn by what we behave like. What are we doing? Our staff is the same. They're looking at you to see, are you as passionate? Are you as diligent? Are you determined? Because if you are, then they will copy that. They'll be excited to work with you. But if you're laid back and not responsible and you don't care, well, they're not going to care either. And remember, the work that you do is a reflection of who you truly are, what your character is. So when you are hiring a person, you want to make sure, what's the history in that person? How do they handle issues when there's chaos? Do they get out of control? Sometimes I do. Do they scream? Or do they look for solutions? I get very quiet when problems get very big. Because to me, it's the moment that I have to think, how do I handle it? How do I resolve this issue? Your manager needs to have those abilities. You know, you cannot have someone that just loses control out of everything and can't focus. At the end of the day, that manager is your right hand. It's the person that's with you side by side, pushing your business forward to serve the community, to serve your clients, to serve even your staff. Remember, don't forget your staff. Your staff is as important as your client. Okay, so we're going to keep it short. I remember that, you know, it's a lot of details, and we're going to continue talking about people. And remember that it's hard to get people to do what you want. It's not an easy process. But start with you having your things in order. The why, right? Your manual, the expectations, the roles, the qualifications in that person, and interview them to know who they are. You know, I sometimes would rather hire someone with less, maybe they don't have the experience in my field, but I see core value. I see discipline. I see, you know, determination. I see a fire in them. And I'd rather work with someone like that. That's how I do it. I work with people that have the want and the desire to do something for themselves and for their family, and willing to work for it. Most people are willing to work, but you have to have it in order. So my name is Esther Tanes. I'm keeping it short and simple today. Next week, we'll talk about people strategies. A lot of details in that next one. It'll probably be a 2-part. Make sure that you follow us on YouTube. If you like, hit like and share. Again, have a fantastic day. This is Esther.